If you told me a year ago that I was addicted to Warframe and that it had become one of my favorite games ever, I would not believe you. But it really has, and I really never thought I'd love a game like this so much. Any RPG games that I've played have always been like fantasy type, like even Genshin as more of a fantasy world, Lost Ark, which was one of the only like grindy RPGs I played. It had to be fantasy. Things like space related never really appealed to me except for games like Deep Rock Galactic. But I started playing this game on a whim after seeing a TikTok. I downloaded it expecting to just play it for like a couple of hours and never see it again. But even just in the tutorial, I fell in love with the movement, which is so clean and so fun. I fell in love with the super fast-paced combat, and all the different warframes that you can get, all the customization, the quests, the world, the exploration. It was just all so fun. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Taki, and today I'm going to be talking about Warframe. Warframe is an incredibly grindy game. This definitely means that it's not for everyone, but I think if you enjoy the combat, the quests, and the world, it's easy to enjoy this aspect and work towards the gear or the warframes you want. A lot of the cool gameplay revolves around exploring different planets and defeating all sorts of alien enemies. There are so many types of missions while you do these, like spy, assassination, defense, capture, and many more, and it never ends up feeling repetitive. You can play all of these missions and do quests with your friends and even make a clan, or choose to enjoy the storyline solo. I personally have so much fun playing missions with my friends, trying to survive the longest and get the most kills. I think for me the biggest driving factor in this game is grinding for more warframes and improving all of my characters. But everyone's playstyle is different, and you can choose to focus on exploration, progressing story quests, getting good stats from mods, and so on. Right now, I'm absolutely in love with my main warframe, Ureli. She has so many cool abilities and fits my playstyle perfectly. Even though a lot of players would argue she's not meta, I have the most fun on her, and that's all that matters. There are so many warframes and weapons you can collect that it would take me hours to describe, but it's important to know that with so many endless possibilities on what you can build and what you can use, that there's an option for everyone. You can gather loot, relics, and blueprints to craft what works for you and level your gear up to improve your overall rank. I don't want to go too deep into the story or quests because I don't want to spoil anything. I really think you should experience these yourself, but know that there is so much content to cover, and so far there's always been something for me to do. The core gameplay loop of this game is fairly simple. Do missions to get loot, use your loot to craft better gear, become stronger, and do it all again. While you do this, there are a bunch of mission types you can try out on different planets, and you can easily choose different loadouts and characters to enjoy the process. Getting XP on all your warframes and weapons and completing missions and planets will also give you XP to let you get to the next mastery rank, which is essentially your main profile level. Of course, there's also so much extra content you can complete if you don't always feel like grinding for gear, such as special challenges and events, story quests, and a whole open world region called Deviri, which has so many quests and rewards. Right now, I have a few warframes and weapons at max level, but there are still so many guns and characters that I'd like to get. To craft these things, not only do you have to find a number of blueprints, which can be difficult, but you also have to farm rare materials to craft them afterwards. To enhance your strength and damage, you can also find mods, which put simply are basically cards you can use to build whatever stats you like on pretty much anything in your loadout. The modding system can be super overwhelming at first. Even for me, I'm still struggling to figure out how everything works and what mods work the best, but they're extremely rewarding when you build them right. You can increase your overall HP, your energy to use your unique abilities, your ability and weapon damage, and so much more. Obviously, to get access to all of these materials and mods, you have to complete missions on different planets. This is what the map looks like, and as you can see, there are so many and each of them have a bunch of stuff to do. While most of these locations have normal missions, some of them have these like semi-open world type locations where you can just explore and farm and complete bounties. At the start of the game, the quests you're set with will pretty much lead the way for you, so don't worry too much about not knowing where to go or what to do. Warframe has a pretty good pathing system for players like me who have just started without it feeling overwhelming. If you ever feel lost on where to go, you can easily just check your current quests and they'll have set locations for you. Another thing I want to quickly mention is that while the gameplay loop can get boring for some people, there are so many cool game modes that aren't just using your normal attacks and abilities. For example, the Archwing missions. I don't know how to say that. When you're literally just floating in space and shooting things with these special types of guns. Now that I've talked about a lot of the general gameplay and missions, I want to talk about one of my personal favorite things about the game, and I know it's a lot of other players too, which is customization. The level of customization that Warframe offers is pretty amazing. You can change the colors of pretty much anything that you want on your Warframe, weapons, companions, and gear. There's also a bunch of cosmetics and skins for everything. My understanding is that while you can spend money on these things, you can also access them just through playing the game, which I'll talk about later. I've already spent so much time in the arsenal playing around with my warframes. It's so fun and so satisfying to make your character look the way you want, and you can customize anything from colors to armor to any extra decorations that you want. A lot of players might not find this too interesting, but if you do like customizing characters in games, I'm sure you'll love it. I know I've been hyping up a lot of things in this game, but of course Warframe also does have its downsides. One of the biggest issues a lot of players have and don't play the game because of is how grindy it is. This is completely understandable because it can take up to hundreds of hours to get the materials and the frames you want, and even then, crafting them afterwards takes a very long time. But if you're the kind of player that enjoys the grind, then I'd say there's absolutely no issue. Personally, I like to be rewarded for the time and effort I put into the games, and even if that ends up being like a ridiculous amount of time, I'm usually happy to put it in as long as I end up getting what I worked for and enjoyed all the steps along the way. Nearly every game I've played similar to Warframe I've given up on fairly quickly, but I do think that this game is worth sticking around for. It's been over 10 years since its release, and it's still an incredibly popular online game for good reason. It's still updated and optimized, the visuals and gameplay are as fantastic as ever, and it's free to play. I do think that if you're someone like me who's just looking for a shooter game that you can just have fun on pretty much whenever you want without like any pressure, you should definitely try it. Some people consider this game pay to win. I do disagree, but you can definitely buy a lot of things that can help you out, which is why I consider it pay for convenience. All you're doing is just paying to skip some grind, to basically just farm materials and stuff. Other than a very few Steam cosmetic packs, you can earn everything in the game, including skins and rare weapons, rare warframes, just through playing and working for it. The game's premium currency, called Platinum, can be earned easily by farming and trading on the Warframe market, and nothing is really locked behind a paywall. I'm about 45 hours into the game now, and I definitely think I see myself playing this game for like quite a long while. There's still so many quests I have to do, warframes and weapons I want to craft. It feels like there's always another thing to look forward to in this game. There's so many prime things, like the special version of things that I want to start crafting. If it sounds interesting to you, I definitely recommend picking it up and trying it out with some friends. The community is also so nice and they love to help out new players. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.